Welcome to the 18th annual Santa Cruz County High School Poetry Contest. Let's give the poets and the teachers a big hand, please. I'm Michael Watkins, the Santa Cruz County Superintendent of Schools. And one of my campaign promises, actually, probably the only promise I kept, was to really keep the arts and poetry alive. So today you see we have kept poetry alive, but I actually have kept other promises as well. But I think it's really critical that we do maintain this program, and I want to thank Poetry Santa Cruz. Lynn Anderson, where's Lynn? Lynn Anderson, thank you for all of your hard work. We have Tom McCoy over here. Tom, thank you as well for all of your hard work on this. And we also have over here Dennis Morton, who's also been integral in this whole operation. I also want to take this opportunity to thank each and every teacher. As schools have been impacted with the adversely with the budget cuts, poetry really isn't number one on a list of many principals or superintendents, and a lot of it comes down to the individual teachers and their efforts to keep poetry alive. Let's give them a great big hand. Again, without them, this would not take place, and they have to find time in their busy schedules to fit the poetry in some time.
I do want to thank Michael, and I want to thank all of the teachers and all of the students. 357 poems were submitted to this contest, and it takes a lot of courage to A, write the poem, and B, send it in to a contest. And so all students who participated bear our thanks and gratitude.
Okay, so the title of my poem is Tira. Bowls clink, Coke cans crunch, tangled hair and cherry cheeks, buzz of TV, the reek of chlorine, sitting, laughing, wishing. Trace fingers through carpet, ragged designs, swipe them away. Strum your brother's guitar, fingers burning, crooning nonsense. Open the window, catch ribbons of wind, soft as feathers, cool as peppermint. Laughter fills our mouths like whipped cream, sweet, frothy, and light. Stars, brilliant, glittering, pinned in a black veil. We pluck them free, and they flutter like petals and drift away. A cluster of candles in the satin dark. Cup this moment in your hands and hold it there. Peek between fingers, watch it bloom. Thank you.
So, my poem is Who You Are. So much depends upon who you once had been, but only the rhythmic clicking of the old family projector recalls the way you smiled. I do not know your teeth. They do not unwrap Christmas presents, and they no longer laugh while we play poker for pennies. I remember that the guacamole was not to your liking, and that the silly string battles were only ever irritating. Who were you to my family? Not your mother's bold lipstick, nor your father's jar of winnings. And I never had the chance to know them. They are only a shop of flowers, an epitaph and stories. Stories you will not tell me, will not be the answer to our phone calls, or postage stamps, or prayers for lack of knowledge. I will, I won't, could never learn to speak your name. Though I know it has not changed, I will never know your reasons for telling us it has. And what I know of you is uttered in low voices and is sunken in the couch at Nana's house. It is photograph and stains from Mole Negro, when you couldn't hear the sleigh bells ringing. Are you listening? Are you? No. But I cannot say I care, because I only know you for who you aren't. This one's called, I'm going to do that so many times, Unseen. She died in a brick house at the intersection of two roads. Its wrought iron streetlights and ivy-coated walls had never meant home to her. She had never belonged. She did not understand this world of apartments and skyscrapers. How could one live in a house built by someone did not know? And so she distrusted the beams in the ceiling and was cautious of the linoleum tiles in the kitchen. She did not know any architects, and the man who built the brick house was no friend of hers. She did not live alone, yet senility had never been good company. The other residents were strange to her. They shuffled small paper cards and delighted in the glowing picture box in the corner. She was not like these people. She would not watch the shows, would not don the electric ears of her age, and so she passed the time with silence. She had always lived elsewhere in spirit, beyond the brick walls and linoleum floors, and her soul flew there in the night to take shelter from this house of rest. The tenants would not see her leave, but then they had never seen her at all. She was more like a ghost than any of them. They were lifeless, and she floated on. She was dead in that house, though she had lived more beautifully than they would ever know. She was born in a town with only one road, and it did not have a name, for none had ever been needed. She grew to womanhood in the place of her ancestors, in a house built by the hands of her father. He was no architect, yet she treasured the ancient gaps in the walls and trusted the way the soft ground rose and fell with weathered ease. She drew her life from that home, so far away. She was glad it did not know of the cities and crossroads and the complexities of apartments. She was at home with the distance from house to house and with the basket-carrying people who were fishing pole thin. When each night her feet returned to the warmth of the earthen floors, she rejoiced and kissed them, proud to find that they were not clean. She took delight in the dust on the simple wood furniture and found safety in the paper lanterns that hovered in the air. She recalled the flickering of tradition and the gift that had once been each new day. She used to rise with the sun, warm glow on her face, and pick plums from the tree outside.
All right, my first poem is called The Starving Musician. He plays the piano, rocking back and forth, cradling each note, giving life, but holding on to each for just a single moment before it is released, sent out into the cold world to die or survive. It all lies in fate's hands now, not his, not anymore. The artist, the musician, with starving eyes and frantic fingers, he sways, with his head held back, listening to the birth of each note as it springs forth from nothingness but the barren plain of his soul. He breathes life into each ivory key as his fingers dance, playing a sad yet beautiful song. The song of the sirens set out at sea, the bewitching words of a long-forgotten curse. The notes pass through his ragged body, each throb of his veins pushes tired blood and music that begged for life and took everything from its living master, a master who would die for his masterpiece. With bleeding fingers pressed against bone keys, each print left on the piano left its bloodied print on his haunted soul. But when the music has finally gone, he has nothing, is nothing, but a starving artist deprived of paint. He has nothing left. He gave it all up for his sacred art, his Bible of notes, gave his heart and soul and all else he could give, but his ears to listen and his fingers to play, as he cradles each new life and then sends it away. My other poem is called Boy Soldier. The razor runs over the boy's head. He doesn't move or flinch, just stares ahead into oblivion, with deadlocked eyes, into a future of unknown miseries, with eyes held firm in a choice he had no part in making. They shave his head, put a warm gun in his hands, and teach him how to kill. Teach him how to steal a life without remorse. They say, "Learn fast, boy, or get ready to die young." They smack him around, take the boy's soft exterior, and turn it into cold, hard stone. Rip out his heart and memories of a time when safety was a given and love was always near. Take all that he ever knew and throw it away. The boy soldier hefts up his gun, his lips sealed and dead eyes. He has nothing left but the fight for his eternal soul. Everyone runs from him as if he is a monster, because he is a monster, one they made him into. Ripped him from his home and gave him hate to battle an unknown enemy. There is no escape for him, just a bloody sentence that he has no choice but to accept. They label him and fear all like him and run at the sight of his gun. Run, they yell, it's the boy soldier come home again. But he won't let it continue as he stands over the body of a young girl the same age as him and a bullet in her chest.
The title of my poem is Make Love Not War. What kind of world are we living in, where people let you think it's okay to sin, creating situations for our children, hoping they can get us out of this mess we're in? We're falling deep into this hole, but we're digging it. They say we're all going to hell, but we're living it. Bringing children into this world we're living is almost sinning. With all the murders and drugs and hate, we're sealing their own fate. They don't stand a chance. In a place where innocence is trashed, dreams bashed, skulls smashed. Drive-by bullets planted in too many chests. Too many children disappearing, that's theft. I wonder what would happen if we all just left. I pray one day it'll all just be a dream, a nightmare. I swear I'll wake up and the day will gleam and I'll beam when I can hear laughter, not sirens, no shouting, just silence. When loved ones return from war and the gangs that live next door will settle a truce, shake hands like rubber bands, bounce back to before anybody did crack or talk smack and give back the morals that they lack. Reverse the attack and make love not war.
All right, so my poem's about cowboys, I guess. I come from a strange land where hooves clatter like engines, where gunshots ring the cries of angry men. It's a bold land, though violent and ugly. It's our land all the same. Huge red rocks in Mexico, fresh pines in the biting north. The free, the new, we the proud. Architects of massacres, of larger maps and a shrinking world. The free, the new, and we the proud. It's the world our fathers left us, not the one our mothers wanted. Still we soldier the frontier, racing from the discovered across blasted lands. We are wolves in the wild. Though as strangers loom, man seems wilder still. It's an old land with a young people, riders with guns and tempers, men with nothing to lose and everything to gain, scattered about a brave new world. And how brave it is. Speak of hope, watch works of great men. Men with strong backs and honest brows, who carved their world from dawn till dusk. We remember them when we leap, when we shoot. Because of them, we are vigilant. A hawk flies west, a cigarette burns, lighting crooked scars. High-heeled boots clack, clack in the dust. Their spurs cackle war and fire, as so many have before them. Still flame licks starlit nights, burning barns and blazing trails. Scars and lessons, memory bears their weight. Totems of what we left behind. Smiling Eagle cradles his little sister, and Johnny's got his gun. Both are wretches and killers, sons of their father, born on dust and glory, born on blazing hearts. We are children of an old world thrust into the new, in desperate search of our own domain. We are men in a strange land, and with fury we ride.
My first poem is America. You were beautiful once. Your spacious skies and fruited plains called to us, and we came, running, like hyenas to a fresh piece of meat. And we stayed until we had eaten you all up. We are buzzards clinging to an empty carcass. Now the land weeps, now the people weep, now I weep. I weep for you and all that you were and for what you have become. Your beauty is marred now. You were freedom, and now you are pockmarked. A shadow of everything you stood for. One day I will leave. I will turn my back on you. I will take in the sadness, the emptiness, no longer. We soared into the sky, but up soon turns into down, and we fall, crashing, burning, to the ground. You were beautiful once. My second poem is called Whimsies. There is a box that I hold in my hand. There is a fox in the box, and on the bandstand, The fox trots while it gawks at the suntanned farmhand who plays on the bandstand, while the ox next to the fox stands in the sandbox and demands a canned brand of grass from the grassland. And the fox trots and gawks while it places shamrocks in a hat box, as the suntanned farmhand who plays on the bandstand does a kickstand in quicksand, while the ox next to the fox in the sandbox balks at hawks and peacocks walking on sidewalks. And while the ox next to the fox in the sandbox balks and the fox trots and gawks, I simply hold the little box and smile.
You will dream of your father by accident one night. Your father at a table in his house, fixing a pendulum clock by hand. His beard will be gray like never before. You will not stop it from graying and growing, but you will ache to try. He will tell you how a timepiece works, and you will watch his aging chin. Do not be afraid. He will show you deep wooden shelves there with thick green books and remembered rough and round things like wonderful swords that you will hesitate to touch. You will shiver, and the place you stand will be like a stale corner of dark rye, but do not be afraid of it. He will show you his first driver's license and peel you an orange like he used to do. Still, you should not be afraid. Ask if you can fold his socks. And sit with him in the living room. You will talk about animals as his beard turns gray, and you will feel old too and not afraid. Then you will wake up crying, like a nosebleed cold and mild. You will turn on your end table lamp to read Call of the Wild, a book he recommended.
My first poem is called Kiki Boy. Dreaming through a screen, Kiki with his yellow hat and black eyes. Tu eres la manzana del ojo. As he drums his fingers, they turn to ash. Kiki with his blue eyes, red lips. Mi hijo, mi muchachito bonito, ven aquí por favor. He just wants to look at you. Don't be shy, Kiki Boy. Te miro. Like a dusty film at a hot, scratching, midnight movie house. Sweat like salt, like bloodied lips. Kiki with the violet eyes. Kiki by the screen. Con las luces en sus dientes. Skinny boy, crazy boy, spiraling boy. Down the thin metal stairs, thin like his wrists. Como Dios, pero más joven. Dios debe ser joven y bonito. Como Kiki. Dark-haired, black eyes. White print with no color. Kiki, you're a name on a newspaper. No picture, no fotografía. Pero te recordaré. Cuando Kiki está muerto, all that shiny black hair of yours is going outside en la calle. Oye, Kiki, adieu. My second poem is called High Contrast. There are oranges pressed against your chest, like all the world is flavored citrus, and you are the Atlas mother. Black lace holds them to you, like a weary aunt who blows smoke out the kitchen window and tells you, "Baby, we're getting through okay," as he strokes your hair and offers you the couch. Do you bring these oranges to the bathtub and exercise in golden claws? Perhaps you wrap them in the nest of your towel like precious eggs and let their snap drift over the water to lightly lick your face. The heat of your chest makes these oranges pleasant to the touch, and, if you were to taste them, their warm-blooded zeal would collect on your wrists, poised and peripheral. My third poem is called To City Lights. The day before I turned 17, I was up in Frisco, which is what I've learned to call this city by the bay. I was on a sort of pilgrimage, you see, looking for the truth that lies in history and purpose. Turning the corner set my heart aflutter. In the same way, turning the corner in a gallery and beholding the holy made my being whole. This too was in Frisco, make note. But there at the corner, 2 stories in the basement, was a sublime slice of Satari. God, even the clothesline and the view of the tower could not sedate me. Gripping my copy of the Pioneer Sunflower so it would not become a victim on the wind, I shouted, "You're home." I swooned at the windows, pointing, smiling. "Look, it's you. This is your home, and these are your brothers." Enter. A world of sweet shelves of fiction warmed me, and I could not stop smiling. The stairs up were a journey through time, walls lined with all manner of stories. Such luminous photographs I could not help but linger. The upstairs is a temple, filled with poems by the volume and a wall of generational truth. It is silent there, and the people read by the windows, absorbing. We all grok the sanctity of this place. Switch gears to the basement. Here it is warm, alive, with narrow shelves. There's a hidden tune, and through the voices I can make out the song of the mystical mountain king, cosmic, and I feel blessed by the serendipity. Surrounded by people contemplating theater, psychology, violence, gender, ecosystems, whole lives spelled out in text. People talk in this space, and we cannot hear the wind or the grind of the streets. I travel up, down, and around these worlds like an undecided ghost, passing through. I touch everything. When I have drunk deeply, I say goodbye like a long-distance lover and vow to always remember. My pioneer has a companion now, a prayer for the dead, with a dedication to the living, with love. I enter the sea breeze streets whole and wiser, carrying the corner with me.
This isn't the selection I would have personally chosen from the ones I submitted, but I'm more than appreciative nonetheless. And this goes out to my friends in the back. All right, why we stick around? Nuclear ideological contraceptive, all the childhood glow of an arcade token. All the phrases you knew are becoming deceptive of the things I would think if my mind was not broken. Tell me a lie and I'll tell you a story. On my skin you will trace the symbol forever. I'll leave out the parts that get icky and gory, and we might sing a song but we'll never remember. You know, I despise your opinion, but an opinion's an opinion, and in this world we're living in, opinion's all we got. So choke yourself with your gin and leave your things to rot.
A dark, gloomy 1980. She was only 12. The commencement of change, of war. A familiar pale face came to her, to take her to a once safe place called home. Nothingness, filled with nothing but paralyzing, tormenting silence of the lonesome streets. Her home once filled with laughter, now filled with grief, agony. Her father murdered. Tears of blood streaming down her tears of blood streaming down upon her cheeks. In her memories, human bodies huddled together under the stilled roofs, day and night. The night overshadowed the radiant daylight. Soldiers' footsteps roamed, haunting the streets. The piercing sounds invaded her innocent ears. Her brothers' whispers, telling her the truth. Daylight broke into their hearts. Outside was nothing but silence. Bam! A silver glistening bullet from behind the wooden door, coming and going from one end to another, penetrating her father's caring, compassionate heart. An instant death, tragic but so very true. Years passed, ever so slowly, but things were never the same. She grew up, became an intelligent, wise teacher. No freedom, no one spoke their enticing minds. All of their freedom held to restriction. The rebel versus the army blocked oh so many paths, bullets tormenting her thudding ears. Bombs fell from the heaven skies, once blue but now tinted with the blood of the people. Now dimmed their oh so precious earth. She had to escape, free from this violence, this inhumane justice, from her home, El Salvador. She yearned for a new place to call home, the USA, where she can escape, be free. Nothing more important than her freedom. She fled from her once safe home, and now was headed to a new one, where she could finally be free at last.
This is called Lost Youth. It may have been love, it may have been fate, but the fact still remains she was 2 weeks late. Whirlwinds of nausea that just wouldn't quit. The truth was clear, yet she refused to believe it. She ignored all signs, convinced it couldn't be. She was lost in a trance, blind to reality. 2 months went by. The bump began to form. No more denying. It was in time to embrace the storm. "Hello," she murmured, her eyes swollen and red. "Hi," he answered, sitting down on the bed. Her hands trembled. Her throat felt like chalk. but she was done with excuses. It was her time to talk. The words came out, but seemed far away. Life had grown still. Sorrow enveloped the light of day. His jaw hit the floor, along with his heart. He refused to let this mistake tear his life apart. "I can't do this," he screamed, and walked out the door. Silent and alone, she sunk to the floor. Goodbye, childhood. Hello, tears. Her freedom had lasted only 16 years.
Hi, my poem is called Milk Carton. It's really short. I peer out from behind the plastic. The door opens. I search. A hand reaches, almost squeezed to death. It's a short trip every time. I feel myself becoming less until the last drop is gone.
I like to walk with closed eyes, only open a moment every second or two. Blinking in reverse while carried through a world wrapped in light. To see that world as it is, a series of still enigmas, flash and fading lines. Deprived of the illusion of continuity that watches some silhouette leaning then shifted and denies the possibility that there could be nothing in between. Or an image yet unseen. The stillness in a hummingbird's wing. And some quality movement masks, which returns to sight the intensity of a question, lost in the belief of comprehension, that I could be more than a moment and memory, just another moment without firmness with words. A single pattern in light, sound, and answering, that is, any pattern, every. In the angular shadows, reiterating a tunnel of orange columns that ends in a door, around two figures, a girl and boy, with light reaching around half his cheek, through the door in the bodies leaning on desks, and a slumped man, creating a past of bank policies and genocide, answered in scratching pencils. And in this pencil, a point that is many lines wrapping into ideas on a flat blue line texture that would become a memory. And the possibility of plastic and tapping hands transferring grand tracings through intersecting planes as moment and eternity, the incomprehensible fading lines.
My poem is called Words Unsaid. Speaking is supposed to be easy. Day after day, words come without thinking. But then there is a moment when you want to say something that has meaning, or value, or just a purpose, other than mindless babble filling the empty air. But when that moment to say something important comes to you, the words suddenly don't. And when you think about what you really want to say, and when you really try to think of the right words, when you want to tell someone that you care, the words simply aren't there. And then, when you finally think of the words you want to say, the words you struggled to find, the words that refused to come, the words you finally found a moment to say, the moment is gone, and it will never come back. But the words are there, stuck in your head, swirling around and around, waiting for another moment like the one that caused those words to surface.
In the dark, the light shines on the noble, the honest, and the brave. In the dark, it works its terrifying magic on the cold-hearted, the used, and the addicted. In the dark, the good seek a light and follow what's in their hearts. In the dark, the cold seek a needle and crave what's in their veins. In the dark, the good help others. In the dark, the cold hurt themselves. In the dark, the good refuse to be ignorant. In the dark, the cold are too ignorant to care. In the dark, all of us, cold or not, have our souls distraught, but still fight on. I am cold. I am in the dark.
When are the small things a really big deal? When a mistake, like an earthquake, shakes your whole world. A small, insignificant, forgotten deed morphs into a hideous and dark, monstrous creed. Why do we let fear and greed spin out of control? If we break down any further, we'll no longer be whole.
I'm strong yet weak. I bench 100+ pounds, yet I cannot hurt a girl. I hear anything and everything, yet I'm still deaf. I see a lot, yet I'm still blind. I'm strong yet weak. I pretend to know everything, yet I know nothing. I have felt love, yet love has not felt me. I cry when I lose, yet I cry when I win. I'm strong yet weak. I understand nothing, yet I learn everything. I say what needs to be said, yet I remain silent. I would try to be the best, yet I know I am not. I hope I will be a leader, yet I remain hidden. I am strong yet weak.
Music, the rhythmic blend of styles, of jazz, of high notes, of low notes. A blend of breath, of air, of tone, of tune, a balance. Music moves, it flows, it flows. It's alive. Life is music. The heart beats. Music beats. Music moves. People move. Feel the beat, the rhythm of the beat. That's what music is.
Forever after expired the day I smiled and no one smiled back. My experiences compose me. I am the victim of every encounter, every disaster, every sunset I've ever known, the sum of tangled loose ends. I became myself when his back turned for the last time. I became myself when the stereo began to blare, and I danced with the ghosts, lonely but not alone. I became myself when my soul was crammed into double-spaced lines, placed in front of a judge with no face, and promptly rejected. I was born from door slams, messy high fives, roses that bled crimson. I am a collage of childhood stories, the prettiest lies I ever knew. Definitions slide off my skin. The lines on my face mark my acts, not my fate. Cuts and bruises and scars, in the end, all I am are my battle wounds.
Quiet. Give to me the quiet magic of early mornings, stillness and light. Tread softly through these vacant rooms. There's a certain grace in their emptiness. No jittering, jabbering, messy people in their loud lives. Only you. Only the bittersweet peace that comes along with, just before, the lonesome. Sorry, I'm sniffly. Lovely, lonely, empty, and holy. Tiny cathedrals paying tribute to the spirit of silence. Empty and timeless, the sun slowly rising, and your steady breath keep time.
My poem is called On the Other Side of the Wall. Let me catch my breath for just a sec. The feeling of the keys beneath your fingers brings on a sensation like no other. It's like a drug, warm, comforting, flowing through your veins. You feel it through your body and nothing compares. People are listening, you are sure, but they only feel half of the things you feel. The song is self-composed and inspired by the death of a loved one. The melody is sad and sweet, and you can feel it melt through you. On the other side of the wall, a boy sits, not much older than 15. His back is pressed against the wall, letting the vibrations and tones from the piano run through him. What you are playing, it's so pretty, so emotional, and so complex, passionate. He can feel the pain. He can feel the loss. But you are both on the outside looking in. You want someone who understands you. He's found someone that does, on the other side of the wall.
How much more of this? What else can I try? I've been in hot water and in cold fire. I've soared through the laws of gravity and landed in the perfumed dirt. Never had friends or family. My birth bracelet was my only babysitter. I've run the traffic lights of doubt, but there's still a bit of gas in my tank. What's next? And my next poem is Border. Standing at the border, and without fear, my mind begins to talk to me. It says, "You can't do that, and what if you get caught?" But as if I was talking to my brother on the phone, the words fade. I have a need for change, a thirst. I won't get caught again. I ache for prosperity. I can't stand to see my family hungry. My knees are shaking like a junkie, but I have a map of freedom's backyard. I'm going to cross this border.
The poem's called We Are. We are not only the youth of the nation, but we are the hope for the future. We are the change coming amidst. We are the pressure forming the crystal. We are one, but very individual. We are the ones shifting the plates. We are the ones calling rain upon us with dance. We are the ones spreading enlightenment to all willing to listen. We are the generation of higher consciousness. Our goal, meaning, and purpose was never to make money, not to have flashy cars or jets, not to show hate by some means of social rank, but to put man's feet back into the dirt. To bring the fake plastic girls and guys back to their roots. We are the hidden fruit in a box of vegetables. We are the solemn spheres of energy hovering, just hovering. We are aware that there is no turning back now, so we continue on, we progress. We are the bind bringing along light, love, and protection. We are the fiction in your mind. We are the universal symbol for I love you. We apply what we learn. We take one day at a time, appreciating the silence as it comes and raging when it passes. We all can agree that the world is changing, but how many will act upon it? We are together as of now, and nothing mediocre will change that fact. We are the tightly wound dials cutting the pressure. We are the free birds of the generation. We must be the change that we want to see in the world. We are listening to our guidance. We are family.
Being the last, I think I'd like to say that all your poems were just amazingly written, and you guys are all very talented, so I'm glad to be here. This is Daddy's Little Girl. You're always the little girl, the brightest light in his aging world. With just one touch of your hand, you can make your father the happiest man. So how could you ever predict that as you grew old, so would conflict? And for some reason, your dad would recoil, tearing your fragile heart slicker than aluminum foil. Then, when you were no longer small, pride forced you not to care at all. But that only left you fatherless, leading your life into one big mess. Worst of all, your problems were blamed on him, because when you were little, he'd promised to fix them. Now that he could no longer stand the sight of you, the little girl or the new you didn't know what to do. Broken-hearted, you found you could not concentrate, while on the surface you built up anger and hate. You caught yourself wishing he'd leave for good, then deep down praying that he never would. Crying at night, it was difficult to deny you were sad. Even the new you couldn't stop the little you from missing your dad.